So this is not surprising at all, especially depending on your position. But if you have a stat that's really important for your position and a stat that a lot of teams are going to look at and go, then you're going to get drafted high. So this stat alone explains why the Bengals liked Amarius Mims so much. And guess what? It's not the fact that he's 6'8", 335 pounds. Like, part of me can't wait for the season, but part of me knows during the season, all we're going to hear about is the fact of this stat right here. But no, the reason why Bengals liked him so much, and the reason why other teams liked him, including, remember, Kansas City Chiefs, who tried to trade up and steal him from us, was this one right here. Mims is the only FBS offensive tackle in the PFF college era with 350 plus pass blocking snaps played and 0 sacks or quarterback hits allowed. Now, he only started 7 total games. He did play a natty, and he also did play a Peach Bowl because of an injury to the starting right tackle. But total, he played 9 games. He only started 7 of them. So, I mean, that's not bad. I mean, it's really not bad overall-wise, you know, to look at this stat. Even the small sample size. Again, I'm playing devil's advocate here, right? I'm playing the opposite field here, right? Only 9 games played, 7 started. But even though that is the case, one of those games was a natty. One of those games was the Peach Bowl. 7 of those games was for Georgia, who plays the toughest competition in college football, right? So we're not talking about a Division III school here who hasn't played a good team in like 17 years. We're talking about a team or a team in Georgia who plays the best of the best. And I'll actually pull this up real fast to see what teams he did play in his time. Sorry about sneeze. That before he did go ahead and get hurt and had to leave, sadly. Let's see. So, Amarius Mims, give me 2023. So, 2023, the 7 games that he played against Tennessee, okay, Ball State, South Carolina, Mississippi, Tennessee, the actual Tennessee, Georgia Tech, and finally Alabama. Oh, my bad. So, the games he did play, and keep in mind, he did get hurt in the Alabama game, and he's out for the season, but one of the best in the country. Great team. One of the best in the country. One of the best in the country. Ole Miss is great. Gamecocks, one of the best in the country. So he played against very, very tough opponents in those games that he did play. And then going back to this, I don't think it's going to show us the game log of the 2 games he did play. But I believe the natty, was it natty against Alabama? I believe the natty was against Alabama. And I forget who the Peach Bowl was against. So, again, you know, not easy competition by any stretch of the imagination. And he was able to still have 350 pass blocking snaps and not give up a single, you know, quarterback hit or sack. And there is a lot of things you got to look at there, again, because you're not looking at a guy who's coming from a Division III, a Division II, a D2 college. This is a guy who played at the top of the level, played against the best competition, including Alabama, who, as we already know, Alabama has the best pass rushers every year in college football, and that's why they always transition very well to the NFL, because of the fact that, you know, they're the best college, especially for defense. I mean, Alabama is known for their defensive line at the end of the day. Their secondary, usually, Alabama corners don't really always hit in the NFL. Drake Kirkpatrick was one that did. Marlon Humphrey was one that did. And there's another one I forget recently, actually. This year we had Teron Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry. But usually they don't hit. And the reason why they don't hit is usually because the defensive line for Alabama is so good that the corners don't have to cover that long. And when they don't have to cover that long, they're able to kind of get away with more things, right? So then once they get to the NFL, they don't have that same luxury, and then they end up not being that good. That's usually how it works. Nonetheless, though, it's, you know, you got to give him his flowers here, as you would say, for how good he was in college in his limited amount of starts. Now, I made a video about this before, and I'll say it again just for clarity's sake. He is not there is players who's been drafted in the first round, offensive linemen, who tackle wise, who has had less snaps than him. And two of the guys, one is the guy Cardinals left guard, and I forget the second guy, but they were both good players. So just keep that in mind. Just because he hasn't gotten that many snaps or that many games doesn't mean he's going to be a bust or not going to be as good. The games he did play was against the best competition in the country. And, that, again, has to be looked at in some way as, okay, that's awesome. And he did play a natty. So it's like, again, if you want to talk about the best possible team, he played a national championship, and he was able to do very well in Michigan, my bad. Georgia did win it. So, yeah, we'll have to see how this ends up turning out in the future. But again, like I said, I've said this many times, I do not believe in any way Trent Brown's job is at risk. I don't believe that at all. I think that his job is fine, and I think that Amarius Mims will sit behind him, knock on wood, as long as there's no injuries or problems in that department. He's going to sit behind Trent Brown and just kind of learn from him, develop, and get to a point where he eventually will become the starting right tackle and the right tackle for the future. There's no reason to throw this guy out to the Wolves right away. Let him sit, let him develop, and let him be great. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next one.